Welcome to LOA Today. Walt Thiessen and Alex King here. Today is Wednesday, March the 13th, 2019. It's 8 a.m. in New York, 5 a.m. in Los Angeles. It's 12 noon in London. Sydney, Australia, you're at 11 a.m. or 11 p.m., excuse me. But wherever you are in the world, thank you for joining us for another episode of LOA Today, your daily dose of happy. We're a little unhappy today because Kelly is feeling a little under the weather and taking the show off. So that's the bad news. The good news, though, is that because it's Alex and I, we can just work on our new fictional podcast that we're putting together, The Grass is Greener. And
Yeah.
we've been doing work since the Friday podcast that we did on the show with Tom Wells. We made a
hmm
lot of progress on that day, and we've been doing work behind the scenes since then, developing the characters. I created some different character sheets, one for each character, so we could spell out what everything amounts to for that person. And Alex was going crazy, punching in details, making stuff up. It was great, the stuff that he came up with. I want to ask you about some of it because some of it is stuff that is so completely outside of my experience. I'm not even sure what it either is or what it means. I mean, some of it I kind of
I
recognize,
figured.
but I'm going to need like a little education from you, millennial to baby boomer, about
Go
what the heck.
ahead, shoot.
Okay. So let's go first to our main character, Nancy. And
hmm
I'm going to open up the document here so that I know what I'm talking about. Hello, Nasha. Hello, Marjan. We got people tuning in. Feel free, by the way, to put questions in. Um, actually, Nasha does have a question.
Oh, what's your question, Nasha?
This is actually part of an ongoing conversation that dates back to, I think it was November when we had this first conversation. Her
hmm
dream is to move to Paris.
Right. Yes, she told me.
Right. Okay. And she's saying, well, I want to go. How do I go? So it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty
Hmm.
much the same question it was before. How do you get there when it kind of ties into what Steve and I were talking about and Louis and I talked about this week. I mean, it's been an ongoing theme. What do you do when what you're trying to manifest hasn't shown up yet? How do you deal with that? What strategies can you use? And it's a serious question, and it can be a serious problem because it happens fairly often. I mean,
hmm
probably
hmm
the most important thing to remember, obviously, is that what comes into our life is what we vibrate to. In other words, how we feel, how confident we feel, how excited we are about stuff, and so forth. And none of us are perfectly, in alignment at all times. Sometimes we fall
Right.
out of alignment, right? I mean, that's life. Welcome to life, right? Life
hmm
101.
hmm
So really, it's all about what do you do when you fall out of alignment? How do you get back in,
hmm
especially when you're disappointed? Something I've been dealing with.
mm
I've had a number of things I've been disappointed about and trying to stay on top of that. Um, Steve and I had a good conversation about it yesterday morning.
hmm
And in that conversation, we kind of stumbled on something because I was just kind of like probing, asking
Yeah.
probing questions and and he was trying to answer. And we were playing kind of like coach and client kind of thing. And
Yeah.
I was trying to really just zero in, like trying to get a sense of what do you do with this thing. And at one point he mentioned, well, what you got to do, and of course this is going to sound very familiar. What you got to do is you have to take an event that was positive from the past and relive it to
hmm
get yourself into that good feeling place. And then you can
Yep.
kind of transfer that energy over to what you want to do. Okay, it makes sense. But when he said that, I had kind of a light bulb moment.
hmm
It occurred to me, we talk about that, but it can be difficult sometimes, often, to reproduce the level of feeling we had about the event compared to when we actually had it.
hmm Yeah.
So something really exciting happened. You can remember that it was really exciting, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're actually feeling it,
Right. Right.
right?
hmm
And so I asked him, so, how do when that happens, how do you get it to the point where you can feel it to the same degree you felt it before? Because that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get to that really, really good feeling.
hmm
And I know for me, probably for a lot of people, I know that if I'm not getting there right away, I feel like I'm failing. Like, oh, geez, I'm not really
Yeah.
getting there. You know?
hmm
You know how that feels? So, how do you handle that? And he made a really interesting point, and a very good one, which is you get better and better at achieving the old feeling from the previous event when you continue to focus, when you continue to just keep doing it. It's law of attraction. It's a
Mm-hmm.
momentum thing, right? The more
Yeah.
that you focus, the more you get out of it. And I said, yeah, what that's so obvious. Why didn't I think of that? But more importantly, doesn't that mean that we should be spending a lot of time just practicing? Forget
Mm-hmm.
about trying to manifest something. Just practicing feeling as good as we used to feel about the event.
Mm-hmm.
And do it for all the major events of our lives that were good feeling events.
Yeah.
Which also led me to, well, should we be making lists of these things? Because quite honestly, when I'm in that not so good feeling place, that out of alignment place, I
Mm-hmm.
can't even remember what the good feeling stuff was. I mean, you kind of need like a reference list.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
So
know,
making a reference list is a good start.
it is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, before I go further down that, this is kind of a good track and a rabbit hole all in the same breath. So before I go down this track toward the rabbit hole, what approach do you use? How do you go about doing it when you're out of alignment, you're just not feeling it, and you know you need to get into that good feeling place?
Um, I don't know. It's kind of easy for me. Like I just have certain memories that just stick out in my mind, and I'm like, I can physically feel like the chills that I got when Mike first held my hand. Like I can feel that feeling. Like I don't know.
Mhm.
It's not hard for me.
Well, fabulous. I mean, it's nice to know it's easy for somebody. That's good.
Yeah.
It makes you feel like, okay, well, I can actually get there.
Yeah, but not every memory is that easy. But it's the ones that had like maybe the ones that had a physical effect on you are the
Mm.
easier ones to try to manifest.
Well, I think that's true because when there's a physical effect of some kind, it's easier to remember what that was.
Yeah. Mhm.
And you can kind of, even if you don't remember exactly how it felt, you can kind of imagine your way there
Yeah.
because if
Mhm.
it's something that you've ever felt before in some way, you
Mhm.
can kind of get there, you
Right.
know. And actually, we're really good with the negative stuff on that.
Mhm.
Like I won't dwell on this because I don't really want to dwell on it, but
Mhm.
I can remember the first time I let Louise drive my car, she got into an accident,
Oh
destroyed
no.
the car.
Yeah, I did that to my first boyfriend's car too, so I feel you.
And it actually worked out well because it was the other person's fault, and the accident ended up paying for our wedding plus an engagement ring.
Okay.
You know, not exactly the ideal way to get there, but but I do remember, and I try not to think about it very much. I do remember just before that crash. I remember what it felt like.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
that doesn't require any concentration.
Yeah. Yeah, you never forget something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the negative stuff that we remember so easily. It's the positive
Yeah.
stuff we remember less easily. And
Mhm.
that reinforces what Steve was saying, because I mean, we live so much of our lives focusing on negatives, right? And
Yep.
we're surrounded by it. We have all kinds of encouragement to do it. I mean, in some ways, our societies say you must focus on this negative stuff because this is real.
Mhm.
This is the real stuff. You got to focus on the real stuff. Otherwise, you're not being realistic.
Nah.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Dream a dreamer's dream. Do what you gotta do.
Now, let's see. Nasha said, my friend, she has a friend in Paris, remember?
Right. Yep.
We'll put her up if she can get there. Yeah.
Mhm.
Friend is saying to come, but my family is not being flexible. And I really want to
Mm.
get to Paris. Seriously, she says, I really want to go to Paris. I believe you, Nasha. I think we both believe you.
We
You
believe you.
definitely
Yeah.
want to go there. Yeah. It's all about the focus. Interesting point you made, though, Nasha. You said your family is not being flexible. That's an example of what we're talking about, focusing on
Mhm.
the negative, right?
Yeah.
Because it
Mhm.
really doesn't serve her to focus on, well, the family isn't being flexible. It doesn't help her to manifest it. But
Right.
that's reality, and you're supposed to focus on reality.
Mm.
The things we do to ourselves is just amazing.
Facts.
So, what's the solution? As crazy as it sounds, you gotta change your focus away from the families being inflexible,
Mhm.
and all the other stuff. Because
Yeah. Concentrate on the fact that your family's getting there. They're
that's
further
a good,
there than they were before.
that's a very good way to say it. Yeah, they're
Mhm.
improving. They're
Mhm.
relaxing. Their inflexibility is becoming more flexible.
Mhm.
They're relaxing on that. That's good. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And has she created her vision board?
I don't know. Have you created a vision board, Nasha, on getting to Paris?
Because that's where I would start if I would want to do
Yeah.
a big move like that, you know?
It's a good point, right? Because you have to have something that you can focus on daily to get excited about and focus on and really
Hmm.
just create all the details about it. Louise was talking about that yesterday when she and I were talking about a similar topic, how
Yeah.
important it is to focus on the details. Those
Yep.
details just make it come to life, right? They
Hmm.
make it feel real. Yeah. Those details are big. So, yeah, maybe work on a vision board if you haven't done that.
And then
Is
when
this-
you, with your vision board, do your affirmations in front of your vision board instead of a mirror and focus on the pictures and the words and the things and be specific in your affirmations about your vision board.
She gave another comment. She says, "Well, I'm trying to."
See,
Yeah.
see, you want us to do all the work. That's what it is. I see you,
No,
Nasha. I see you.
no. Oh, actually, she says, I see Paris daily on video with her friend.
Hmm.
Okay, so good. That's good. Um, how much are you getting into the energy of it?
Right,
I mean, because you can just kind of watch a video, or you can watch a video. You can
right.
get into it.
You got
You
to
know,
immerse yourself.
that's right. Yeah,
Like
it's got to
tune out
be
your friend and start listening to the sounds of the birds in the background and the people walking by and the cups clinking at the cafe and stuff like that.
Yeah, got to be real.
Hmm.
Because if it doesn't feel real to you, you won't believe it. Not deep down.
Right.
You got to believe it. You got to
Yeah.
believe it with all your heart.
You got to make your own reality. Then you can concentrate on being realistic.
That's right. Yeah. He says, I get excited. Good. Getting excited is good.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
just keep doing it. It's kind of like what we were just talking about. There is a momentum factor. The
Hmm.
momentum comes from repeated exposure. So
Hmm.
like when I was talking about how I really need to focus on some of the really good events that have happened in my life for the purpose of building up how it felt so it feels like it felt way back then, whenever it was that it happened. Similarly, when you want to go forward into going to Paris or whatever, you want to get to the point where the excitement level is really one on the scale, top of the scale. Number
Hmm.
one, highest possible vibration place.
Yeah.
The only way to get there is just by continuing to focus and focus and
Hmm.
focus and focus and focus and just engaging yourself and getting excited and just doing it more and more and more and more and more and more
Yeah.
and more. And don't I
Hmm.
mention more?
Just a little bit more.
Just a little bit more. Yeah, and then you just do it a little bit more after that, and
Yeah.
you keep doing it. You keep going and going and going. So
And also remember, the universe goes on forever, so there's no time frame on your manifestation, so don't be impatient.
that's good. Yeah. Because impatience is a block.
Yeah.
Impatience
Hmm.
is resistance. Which, by the way, is why there's a time frame. It's true. That's why the only otherwise the universe loves to deliver everything instantly to us. The only reason it doesn't is because on some level we don't believe or we resist or we doubt or we're
Hmm.
afraid or whatever. We just that and there's it's not that there's anything wrong with us. It's just
Right.
it's part of being a human being, living in
Yep.
on planet Earth and dealing with quote reality unquote that
Flaws and
we
all.
exist. Yeah. So and that's something I have to remind myself of. It's important to just kind of let go of how long it's going to take. I mean, which is kind of tough. Right now, I'm trying to manifest something that really needs to have a deadline on it, and it's critical. It's pretty
Hmm.
critical stuff. It's like, bread and butter stuff.
Right.
And that's where it gets really tough because you got to let go of an outcome when you desperately want an outcome.
Hmm.
You got to let go.
Yeah,
I mean, I was
that's a
doing my
fact.
mirror work. This morning I was doing my mirror work, and I was having trouble getting going with the mirror work. I was feeling so down about this thing.
Mm.
And I just kind of stuck with it. I mean, I wasn't feeling it, but I just kind of stuck with, like, look at my face. My face, I was frowning. I had a big frown
Yeah.
on my face.
Oh, I don't like frowns.
No, me neither. But nothing like doing mirror work to see exactly where you're at, right?
Yeah.
Because
Hmm.
you can't hide from what the mirror is showing you. You can try, but you can't really hide what it's showing you. It's telling you
Yep.
where you're going. And so I said, okay, yeah, all right, I get it. So I got to feel better. I'm not sure how I do it right now. I can't find that thought, but by God, somehow I'm going to feel better. And I just stuck with it. I, I,
Yeah.
I did about 10 minutes of mirror work. Normally I'm doing like
Hmm.
a minute, so I mean, it was there for a long time by comparison to what I normally do. Not that 10 minutes
Hmm.
is all that long. 10 minutes is actually pretty short in the grand scheme of things,
Yeah.
but compared to what I normally do, it was a lot. And just by sticking it out, I was able, sometimes I kind of forced a smile. Sometimes
Hmm.
I was just trying to reach for anything I could find that said, I know how this stuff works. And there was a little voice inside me saying, you know, this stuff doesn't work at all. It doesn't, this stuff is a bunch of nonsense. It was really fighting today. I was fighting myself more precisely. I was saying to myself, "Oh, I don't know why I keep doing this. This is a bunch of nonsense." And I kept re re refraining like, oh, well, that's just you talking because you're upset that the thing hasn't shown up yet. That's
Yeah.
just doubting.
Yep.
So
You're blocking
like,
yourself.
I had this little debate going on there.
Hmm.
I finally won.
Good.
I won the debate. It's like, okay, yeah, I really know this stuff works. Okay, I give in. Yeah, I just got to change my mind. I got to change my viewpoint. I got to change my feeling about it. It's all under my control. And the more I did that, the better I got. Until
Hmm.
finally, after 10 minutes, it's like I wasn't at cloud nine, but I wasn't in depression either. I
Hmm.
hell, yeah. Oh, Nasha says, so my vision board is ready, but it's not up yet.
Wait, why?
Why?
You, you should just put it up as soon as you were done. I don't understand what the holdup is.
Mm.
She's holding herself up.
Do I sense resistance there, maybe?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I think
Hmm.
so. And again, not something to beat yourself up about. Just recognize that's what you did. And okay. We always get it right. That was part
I
of what
mean,
I do with my mirror work today. We always get it right. I reminded myself, even when I'm doing something that seems like I produced the wrong result, I still got it right.
hmm,
As a way of saying, don't beat yourself up. Just be nice to yourself. You're doing the best you can under what you're dealing with. So
yeah.
you always get it right. So
And
you didn't put it up?
maybe by
Okay.
putting up the vision board, her family will see it and go, okay, maybe she really wants to go. Like, just as a
Oh,
side
possible. Yeah.
positive thing that might happen.
Yeah.
Don't depend on that. Just say, it's a possibility.
It's possible. Yeah. Yeah. Or even if it's not that, something's going to change by having it.
Yes, definitely.
We may not know what it's going to be, but something is going to shift.
Yep.
It's going to affect the ether of your family life in some way.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's got to, because it's
Yes.
new. It's a change in behavior and it's a change in the environment.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, now I should put up her vision board. Hmm.
Yeah.
Something comes out of that. So,
Hmm.
but anyway, hope that helps you a little bit there, Nasha. So let's get to the grass is greener. I've got the Nance's sheet up,
Yep.
and some of the stuff I've heard of, some of it I have no idea what it is. For instance, NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, I've heard of. I don't really know
I
their
was gonna
music.
say, if you haven't heard of them, oh my God,
I actually,
get from under the rock you've been living under.
I have actually heard of both of those. Yes.
Okay.
I can't say I couldn't name a single song that either of them do, but I have heard of them. Yes.
What?
So,
Okay. All right.
Grey's Anatomy, I've heard of too. Again, I've never watched it. I've heard a lot of people really like that, but I've heard
Yeah, it's been on
of
for
that.
15 years and it's gonna keep going.
I'm sure. Yeah,
They just broke the
been on.
record for what was it? Longest running medical drama.
Oh, really? No
Yep.
kidding. Good
Hmm.
for them. Good for
Yeah.
them. So I have some idea. I have no idea. Well, I have some idea from the title, but I've never heard of How to Get Away with Murder.
Ooh,
Not a clue
okay.
what that is.
So the person who the executive producer and writer of Grey's Anatomy has like a slew of shows. Her name is Shonda Rhimes. And
Okay.
every one of her shows on ABC are like amazing. And How to Get Away with Murder is another one of her shows.
Okay.
So it's like a whole Thursday night thing. Like you get to watch all her shows in a row.
And then This Is Us, is that another one of her shows?
No, that's not another one of her shows, but it is a very popular show that makes you cry every episode.
Okay. So let's summarize all this. I mean, there is a pattern here, I think.
Hmm.
Um, First and Center favorite movies, she said that Nance's thing is romantic comedy. She didn't specify any movies. She just kind of put it in a category there. So is
I
there a
was gonna
theme?
put, yeah, I was thinking of doing the old fail-safe and be like, oh, she likes The Notebook and, any Nicholas Sparks movie, but I'm like, I want her to have a little more substance in that.
So, but I mean, comparing all of these things, musicians, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, the TV shows, Grey's Anatomy, How to Get Away with Murder, This Is Us. Is there a theme going on here that you can clue me in on that I wouldn't know about?
Mm, I think it just has to do with the era of when she grew up in,
Okay.
because those are all things that are popular in my era. So
Hmm. Okay. So there's nothing, there's no specific takeaway from any of those. That's just stuff that she likes as kind of filling out the character, and that's really it.
I think with the TV shows, there's kind of a theme because those TV shows do have a lot of romance aspects to them.
Ah,
So yeah,
okay. So
kind of like,
romance.
hoping and wishing one day me
Ah,
too.
yeah, okay. So romance and romantic comedies in the
Yeah,
movies.
yeah.
Romance is a big theme going on there. So she's
Hmm.
really concerned about this is a way of tying in the fact that she's really concerned she's not finding the right guy.
Yeah. Well, also you can also include the musicians in there because NSYNC and Backstreet Boys always sang about love. So
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, so okay, there is a theme going on there then. It's a pretty
yeah,
strong one.
yeah.
Good. Okay, that's good. So let's look at her ex, Miguel, who interestingly enough has not as much on his list. I don't know how else to say that. He just doesn't have
He's
as
a
much.
simple guy.
A simple guy. Yeah, I guess so. Now, I've never heard of Daddy Yankee or Pitbull, so you're gonna have to clue me in what they're about.
They are what's the name of that genre? I can't oh reggaeton. They're reggaeton artists. So it's like
Oh,
half
okay.
reggae, half Spanish.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, again, product of growing up in that
Oh,
era.
this picture. Yeah,
Hmm.
being a Hispanic. All right. So that makes favorite movies a little confusing to me. Why Marvel movies?
'Cause they're awesome. And
Okay.
and he's a dude, but it also ties in because those are I forget if they're either MJ's favorite movies or Lana's favorite movies, but it ties in that way.
Ah, okay. So this is a tie into the kids thing. Got
Hmm.
it. All
Yeah.
right. And he's a Facebook user. That's an interesting thing right there. That's
Everyone in
almost
their
stuff.
30s uses their Facebook.
But I say it's interesting because this is a guy who's got a lot of fears.
Hmm.
He's afraid of going off on his own as a self-employed person. He's afraid of staying with Miguel with Nance because Nance is such a flirt and she doesn't seem to want that deep relationship. So he's afraid of her in that sense. He's afraid of dealing with his daughter because what he's been trained to be by his culture and by his family growing up that it's a male dominated culture and that the women have their place. So it doesn't make sense for him to connect with his daughter in any significant way, and he's afraid of even going there. He's afraid of a lot of things,
But he does stay connected on Facebook because he's a loyal friend.
and that's the interesting thing. I think there's a pattern, and now of course, well, billions of people are on Facebook, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
you have to kind of take this pattern that I'm going to identify with a grain of salt. But we talked. I remember back when you and Carlos first joined, and we did
Hmm.
that episode on dating apps. In fact, actually,
Yep.
we did two episodes on dating in general. One was on apps, and one was on the wider picture of dating.
Hmm.
during that conversation, I remember talking with you specifically. I think Carlos also weighed in on it, but I remember your commentary about how when people are meeting through a dating app, it's it's a kind of a challenging situation because you're texting and you don't
Mhm.
really have the body language to read and you don't really have the personal interaction. And so
Mhm.
my question that I raised to you was, well, how do you actually get to know somebody if you don't really have the chance to talk to them face to face? And you said exactly that's the point. That's the problem. Well,
Mhm.
what occurs to me is that that's kind of like what the Facebook uh, tide has brought. It's brought us a way to replace personal interaction with
Mhm.
impersonal texting,
Mhm.
which is perfect for enabling somebody who's an introvert.
Yep, definitely.
So that's why it just made sense to me that, yeah, of course he's on Facebook. That's the farthest he's willing to go to put himself out there.
Right.
Well, that really informs his character, I think.
Mhm. Mhm. I like it.
Hmm. Okay, so that's good stuff. Let's take a look at first. Let's look at MJ, who is Miguel and Nance's son, and see what he's all about. Um, you had some stuff to add there, but he's a relatively minor character so far. We haven't given him a whole lot, which is kind
Nah,
of
we haven't. Yeah.
I'm not sure what to do with that yet, but that's okay. This might develop. Now, for music, you said he's into hip hop and mumble rappers. You're gonna have to tell me what that is. I don't know what that is.
That's what us millennials call all these new rappers that think they know what rap is about, but they really don't because real rap comes from the 90s and the 2000s. So,
Oh, okay.
so literally it's all mumbling. Like it's probably what you think my music listen is sounds like.
Oh, okay. Thank you for the baby boomer analogy. I appreciate that. Actually, that's not what I think about rap. I had a guest on one time,
Hmm.
a couple of years ago, who was a rap artist, but the stuff he wrote was extremely positive.
Oh,
And
okay, I like that.
I stumbled across him. I don't remember what I was doing, but I stumbled on him somehow, and I was
Hmm.
really intrigued because I really don't like rap. I've never liked rap, and I'll tell you why in a moment.
Hmm.
But I was intrigued that he was doing this, so I contacted him. I said, "Would you like to do a show?" And he said, "Sure." And so we had a really nice conversation. He said, "I'm going to try to turn you into a fan of rap." I said, "Okay, I'll give you the chance, but I don't promise it." And it led to a really really fun conversation.
Did he freestyle on the show?
He did, yeah, and it was good. Yeah,
Nice,
he did
nice.
a nice job with it. And it's not that I actually object to rap. I think rap is fine.
Yeah.
What I what rubs me the wrong way is I don't think it's music. It doesn't feel like music to me, and the reason is music for me has melody. If it
Hmm.
doesn't have melody, it isn't really music. It's drumming, and that's just the way I feel about stuff. I like melody. I like counterpoint. I like how all the different note patterns interact with each other. I love that
Hmm.
part. I like the chords. I like
Hmm.
all that kind of thing, and I like the variety of it. So, and rap doesn't do that. Now, if
Hmm.
I look at rap just on its own and not think of it as music, yeah, it's like good poetry.
Yeah, yeah.
That's fine. I'm okay with
Hmm.
that. I just have
Hmm.
trouble taking note of his music. That's all. So anyway, we had a good conversation about that.
Hmm.
Um, so when I see that MJ is into, well, hip hop isn't really rap. Hip hop is, I've never really known how to define what hip hop is, but I know it's not the same thing. So I'm
No,
wondering
because it includes R&B and all that stuff.
to a
So,
degree, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It's like a simplified version of R&B, yeah,
Yeah.
which kind of continues a trend. That's a trend that I recognized as a musician. R&B went through like a development phase. It was early on. It
Hmm.
was it was a very structured blues. It was literally
Yep.
blues.
Yep.
And then it turned into an evolving thing that kind of expanded into a variety of directions. And then it all started to go down into a more simplified form. And
Hmm.
ultimately, a lot of the music that's popular today is the simplest form of that. It's like one chord.
Hmm.
It's just one chord and a rhythm going on in the background. Excuse me, a rhythm going in the background and some sort of a very, very, very simplified melody going on. So even the old
Hmm.
blues form is kind of gone. That doesn't really exist anymore in the modern form of it, which is,
Well, R&B
Yeah.
nowadays is more about the story that they're telling than anything else.
Yeah, I get that sense. I've never really studied the lyrics much, but you
Yeah.
can just tell. I mean, when I hear it, when I
Hmm.
hear it playing, I can just tell it's the whole focus of it has shifted, and so it's
Yeah.
interesting to hear you say that it's more about the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as we're looking at MJ's bio here, first of all, what does it tell you that he's into the mumble rappers? Is that just because of his age?
Yeah. Yeah. That's just
Yeah.
what's current right now.
And then why the hip hop? Because hip hop's older. Hip hop's older than he is.
He gets that, I would say, because it's reoccurring. So it's like all the I'm not going to say old because it's the 2000s were not that long ago, but all the 2000 music is coming back and it becoming repopularized. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, so now he's like, is as long as it has a good beat, he's with it.
Okay. And then you got him as Marvel movies, so that's the connection between him and his dad. They're both into the
Hmm.
Marvel, yeah, because the son is into it. I
Yep.
imagine. Okay.
Yeah. Hmm.
And then, interestingly, under favorite apps games, you've got two out of three that I have heard before. I know nothing about. The third one I haven't heard
Hmm.
any. I don't even recognize. Fortnite and Snapchat I've at least heard of. Red Dead 2, I have
Hmm.
no clue what that is. But you got to clue me in on all of it. So tell me about all of it.
Okay, I don't really know a lot about the games, but
Okay.
I do know that they're very intense and they're online games and that everybody's playing them. Anybody who has a system and
Okay.
mostly guys, but sometimes girls are playing these games and I don't know if Fortnite's violent, but I know Red Dead 2 is very violent.
It sounds like it just from the name.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And Snapchat is an app I've heard of, but again, it's not one I know a whole lot about. So for those of us who are clueless baby boomers, tell us about Snapchat.
Snapchat is an app where you can take a picture, send it to your friends, or send it to a group of friends, or send it out to everyone. And it, I don't like the purpose of it because it disappears in 24 hours, so I don't see the point of it. But it's popular, so it's like Instagram, but like I said, the pictures only last for 24 hours, and they
Yeah.
have filters, so that's like the major thing. Like you can make yourself look like a dog or look like a bunny or make your eyes really big or put makeup on or what have you. You can do all these kinds of things. So
Oh, okay.
Snapchat is like, and it's a way of connecting with friends. Like people like to, that's where you get sliding in the DMs comes from. It comes from Snapchat because people, connect in that way and they talk back and forth to each other.
I wonder if the fact that it disappears in 24 hours is perhaps a major part of the draw, because there's a lot of fear these days about all the stuff that Facebook and Twitter and all them have, and
Yeah,
the
because the
outrageous things.
internet is forever.
Yeah. So, well, there's also a suspicious side of me that says, does it really disappear?
Right? I say the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't trust anybody who's a data collector to make stuff disappear. It's too
No,
valuable.
there's a Snapchat cloud out there somewhere. I know there is.
Definitely. Yeah. It may not be a publicly accessible cloud, but it's there. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so that means we got to look at Lana. Lana's going to turn into an interesting character, I think,
Hmm.
because well, first of all, the way I'm visualizing it, she's going to play a major role right from the first episode, because
Yep.
she's going to be the one who I think should unmask Ronald, the player cheater.
Right.
Even if she does it incidentally, hey, it's still part of the game. It still
Yeah.
works.
Hmm.
Now you've described her as a tomboy. What was
Yep.
your thinking about that?
I think she tries to be a tomboy because she's trying to get her father's approval. And that's the type of that, he's very macho, so that's like what he looks for. He pays more attention to her brother, so
That makes
that's
sense.
what she tries to be.
Yeah, because um, if he rates males as more important than females, then she wants to be a male.
Right.
In fact, I'm almost amazed that she isn't transgender, but
I was thinking that, but I was like, no, let's not saturate the story. Let's
Okay. Well, hey, we could always introduce it as a theme later on,
That's true. That's true.
you know, because after 10 episodes, she comes out of the closet or whatever.
Yeah. Like, I'm not just a tomboy. Guess what?
Surprise, surprise, Daddy. Favorite musicians? Jojo Siwa. No clue what that is.
I know you have no clue. When I wrote it, I was like, he's gonna have questions about this. She's a
You know
very
me well.
popular, she's a very popular teenage singer. So
Oh,
she's very popular in Nickelodeon, and mostly known for, she has she, speaking of merch, she has a series of bows because she keeps her hair in a side ponytail, and she always
oh.
has a bow on, and that was like her
Nice.
thing. So now she has her own merchandise of bows. So like every little girl has a bow.
So we're going to be seeing more and more little girls in public with a bow on the side and a side ponytail
You should be seeing it now.
already. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. I can't say I've noticed it, but now, of course, that it has come to my conscious mind. I'll be seeing it everywhere, I'm sure, because
of
that's the way it
course.
works.
Yep. It's like when
Yeah.
you buy a new car. Now you see it
Yeah,
everywhere.
right. There it is. And then favorite movies. I recognize one of them. I've actually seen Frozen, believe it or not, but I
Shut
don't
up.
know what one is. Yeah, I really have. Yeah, it was okay. It was a good movie. I liked it.
Are you ready for Frozen 2?
I didn't know it was coming out, but sure, I'll check
Oh
it out.
yeah. Oh yeah. They went in depth with the characters. Now Elsa's allowed to be her true self, so she's a lesbian now. So
Oh,
it's
really?
really,
Okay.
yeah. So
Ah,
I think this is Disney's first lesbian, now that I think about it.
this is going to be. I mean, the conservatives are going to go crazy over this.
They they already were. That's why it was a whole thing on Facebook. This is why I know it's
Oh, was
coming
it?
out soon.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Because they're like, some people like, just let characters be characters. It's Disney. Stop, making things more than they are. And
It's kind of like the Dumbledore pushback when
yes,
he announced that he was gay. Like, okay, oh, he didn't have to be gay. Why did you have to do that?
right. That was an uproar.
All I knew was I love Dumbledore. I think he's a wonderful character. And
Oh, he's the best.
when the announcement came out, my reaction was, so what? And then I thought
Right,
about
me
it. I
too.
realized, oh, wait a minute, this is going to make a lot of people upset, isn't it? But that
Yep.
was my first reaction was, oh, well, who cares? What difference does it make? And then, oh, I guess it's going to make a lot of difference, I guess. Yeah.
Especially, I noticed it more watching him in, which I think they did on purpose. Like after the fact that they announced that he was gay, it made him look more gay when during
During
what's
filming?
that movie? Dur- no, what's the when he plays his younger self in Fantastic Beasts 2.
Oh, Fantastic Beasts. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So they made
I
him
was
look
like,
gay.
okay, yeah.
I'm still
Like
trying to figure out what that is. I mean, Louise
I mean,
pointed out to me.
he's very he's not in his robes. He's very well dressed. He's got a pocket watch. He's very snazzy.
I love it. Pocket watch. That's great. That fits Dumbledore. I don't care what his
It does fit him.
persona
It
is.
does fit him.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's it should be a watch that works something like Molly Weasley's clock,
Yes. Yes.
right?
It probably does. It probably
Yeah,
does.
I would be surprised.
With like a time turner on the side.
Yep.
Yeah.
And a deluminator attachment,
Yeah.
But what's Mona? I don't know Mona at all.
Moana.
Oh, Moana. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That is I'm surprised you never heard of Moana. That was huge.
Oh, I don't
Um
know.
it's a movie about I don't want to say she's Hawaiian. I'll say she's Polynesian girl.
Okay.
And their crops start dying or something, but she
Ooh.
has to go on this adventure into the sea to find the heart of the sea, to give the heart back to the sea. And she ends up meeting the Rock's character, what's his name? Well, I don't remember his name, but and I should, because he's a major character. So he like makes the whole movie. So,
Okay.
but yeah, Maui, that's his name.
Okay.
So she ends up meeting up with Maui, and he's like a demigod, and he's got this giant hook, and so he ends up helping her on her adventure. And it's just these are themes. The theme of these is that these are strong female role models in the Disney platform. So that's why I put those as her favorite movies.
Okay, that makes sense. And where does Henry Danger fit into that? Another one I don't know.
Henry Danger is a TV show on Nickelodeon. It's very popular with the preteens these days. I watch it too. It's a pretty good show. I'm not gonna lie.
What's the big takeaway from it?
So there's this hometown superhero who is indestructible, and he goes searching for a sidekick. And this kid who's like 14, 15 was like, "Oh, I need a job." So he went to go sign up for a job, and the guy was like, "Oh, this kid's perfect." And then he brings him down to the man cave, and he realized, "Oh, you're Captain Man." And he's like, "And you're going to be my sidekick." So it's all their adventures and how they save the town every week, and it's pretty
Okay.
good.
So it's being a superhero from the sidekick's point of view.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
He ends up getting powers though, like
Oh, he does.
in the second or third season, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is her version of Marvel Comics.
Yeah. Could be. Yeah.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. Well, she's trying to be what her father wants her to be. So it makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. It's
Yeah.
not helpful, but it makes sense.
No, nobody said she was healthy. That's why she
This is
has to see a
true.
therapist.
That's why we have a show. We have a whole bunch of
Yeah.
unhealthy people.
Yeah. Exactly.
Now I have to make note. Nasha included a concept in her idea of Paris. She says the grass is greener in Paris. That's what I'm putting up on my vision board. I don't know
Ooh, the grass is greener in Paris. Yes, it is.
if I like that. Okay, and she's into Harry Potter.
Yep.
Was there the reason for picking Harry Potter?
I think I wrote, but I might have wrote it in the notes, that those are the books that her parents used to read to her when she was a kid.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Her father read to her?
Well, he was in the room, but mostly Nance did the reading.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say that would be like a breakthrough right there. That would be like a
Yeah.
moment for, this becomes a basis for future breakthroughs.
Yeah.
Just the fact that would be there. So, okay.
Hmm.
All right. And then the rest of our notes, which we really on the character notes, we really fill these characters out quite a bit.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right.
Did you
So, let's
did you
look at
see my note about the about how Lana's therapist is the reason that Nance goes to see a therapist?
No, I didn't. I missed that one.
Yeah, so my theory is that because so Lana ends up punching a kid at school,
Oh,
and this is how this school decides she can't come back until she sees a therapist,
no
because
kidding.
clearly there's something going on, with her that needs to be discussed. So she goes to see the therapist, and obviously, at least one meeting, the parent has to be there.
Ah,
So with talking with the parent, the therapist realized, okay, we see where these, problematic issues are coming from. We're gonna need you to check in with this person, and then she hands her a card, and she's like, you should definitely call him or her.
okay. So we haven't done Ronald yet, but let's save Ronald for a moment because I think we're
Okay.
on a good theme here that ties us into what I'm calling blocking out the first episode. In other
Yep.
words, little blocks of time and what's going to happen in each one of these blocks of time.
Mhm.
So, I mean, the way I had originally, not originally, the way I had most recently visualized it was the the first part is we see Ronald and Nance flirting in their casual, everyday, the way they flirt all the time way, which is
Mhm.
exactly it's
Mhm.
always for Nance. That's what a relationship is. A relationship is always about the flirting. So we see them flirting. Shortly thereafter, I mean like minutes later, because in episodes like these, things happen pretty quickly.
They could be
Nance,
flirting in the casting room,
sure, yeah, that would work.
because she brings the talent, so he would, and he's a producer, so he'd obviously be there.
That's right. Yeah, that would
Mhm.
make sense. So
Mhm.
it could either be in the green room or the casting room or both. It could be either place. It would,
Yep.
it would
Yep.
either way.
And they're working on a rom-com, which is her favorite, so she sees it as
Right.
a sign.
Yes. Which he, as the player, knows that's a great manipulative point, so he only brings up rom-coms with her.
Yeah. Yep.
That's good. Okay. But shortly thereafter, Lana gets a hold of his smartphone to play with it.
Yeah. hmm
I'm not sure exactly how that happens, but that's when she stumbles upon the fact that he has a wife.
Well, kids nowadays, if you go on any YouTube video, you will see kids going up to strangers going, "Do you have games on your phone?" So
Hmm.
that's easily done.
But that means that Lana has to be in the same place they are, is what I'm saying.
That because he comes to visit them at their house.
Okay, so I'm trying.
So
I'm trying to work out.
they
So
have to
so
be dating
what's
for a
the
while.
sequence? Because I want to get what I'm trying to say is I want that thing with Lana discovering that to happen really early in the episode. And we're looking
Okay,
at like about a 30-minute episode. So
gotcha.
there's 5 minutes of some kind of flirting going on at the studio or in the casting room or whatever between Nance and Ronald. And then
Mhm.
somehow we're transitioning, maybe we're just cutting, I don't know. But somehow
Mhm.
we're cutting to Lana looking at Ronald's phone.
Mhm.
I think how do you make sense? How do you make that make sense? How does that transition happen? I'm not quite sure what the answer is on that one.
Mm, I say she invites Ronald over for dinner, and
Ah,
Lana's there.
good, nice and simple. I like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, very good. So now Lana gets a hold of the phone. She discovers the wife, asks questions about it. Revelations are made. Ronald denies. Big fight.
She could accidentally FaceTime the wife.
Ooh, that'd be cool. Yeah, I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So she sees a picture, she presses the button, and
Mhm.
then the wife starts. Then all you hear in the background is, "Who are you?"
Well,
And
actually, the first
then,
thing here is when are you coming home? Oh, wait a minute. Who are you?
yeah, yes, yes, yes. Hashtag FaceTime.
Yes, Alex is now my queen of hashtags so that I know what hashtags to put into my videos. So thank you for that. So, okay. So now the episode's starting to make sense the way I was hoping it was going to make sense.
hmm
Um, and ultimately, now Bill came up with his own idea of a first episode and had some interesting ideas in it, although I wasn't quite sure how to make them work on, I think of it as radio or, podcast where
Right,
everything's
right.
sound oriented. So
hmm
it's kind of hard to show that her dress was ripped or whatever. You just there's not a nice way to show that in sound. When you hear the
Unless
sound of
we
the
had a
dress ripping.
narrator, but I feel like the narrator would take over the whole story.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I even said the word narrator in that comment I made, I thought Sex in the City, and it's like, do we really want this to be
I was
Sex in the
thinking
City?
Jane the Virgin, but you don't know what that is, so it's
Okay.
okay.
Well, the point is, do you really want to go that way? That because there are certain
Mm,
associations that audiences have with those kinds of shows.
yeah,
We want to have that kind of association. Maybe we do. I don't know, but
it was very
narration,
successful, so who knows?
it has been. Yeah, narration is one of those things. It's a two-edged sword.
hmm
On the one hand, it can be effective as a way of bringing in details that you can't otherwise hear.
Yep,
On the other hand, once you've got it, you can't get rid of it.
yeah, that's true.
You're married to it. It's there.
hmm
It doesn't go
hmm
away. You can't divorce it. So you're always having to write that way. Now, the plus side of that, of course, is that it makes it a lot easier to write novelistically as opposed to scripting.
Yeah,
Because then you can write like you're writing a novel or a magazine article in the case of whatever her name is in Sex and the City. I mean, she was a magazine author.
yeah.
She wrote all these magazine articles. So I don't know. I mean, I kind of lean not toward narrator, but
I
what do you
also
think?
lean that way.
Okay, so let's avoid the narrator thing then.
Okay.
We're not having a narrator,
hmm
which means we have to be really true to the podcast format, which is
Right.
can't have anything that you can't either play a sound to demonstrate or include in dialogue. Otherwise,
hmm
they won't know what's there.
Right. That's true.
Because with sound, you're trying to paint a mental picture. You're
Yeah.
trying to paint a picture of this is what's going on.
Well, you paint it with the characters. So, like, if Nance is wearing a green dress, instead of you saying, and Nance looked amazing in her green dress, you have Ronald say, oh, you look amazing in that green dress.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. You do stuff like that.
Hmm.
So that's painting the picture.
Yep.
That's good. Okay. So where I was trying to get to with the first episode, for me, the cliffhanger on the first episode is ultimately, is she going to get help now that she's found out that Ronald is cheating on her? Or
No, I think the
actually,
cliffhanger should be Lana opening the phone.
then what is the crisis? Because there
The
needs to be a
crisis,
crisis.
the crisis is you see Ronald, well, you don't see. You Ronald is now rushing towards his phone, and there's a kerfuffle and argument, and who is she and what's going on, and that's when it cuts off, and then you tune in next week.
So then we're really not having the fight during the first episode.
We're having like half the fight
How do we do that?
or a quarter
What
of the fight.
so what are they fighting about?
Well, the wife is on FaceTime, and she of course goes, what time are you coming home? You're running late, or whatever she says. And then she goes, oh, hi, who are you? And Lana goes, who are you? And Ronald hears his wife's voice, so he runs to his phone. And Nance is like, what's going on? And he's like, and he some argument has to happen between the wife and Ronald in front of Nance in order for her to figure out that that's his wife.
Okay. So that starts to be a crisis. The thing about a crisis is that in order to make a crisis really effective, the viewer, or in this case, the listener, has to feel it,
Hmm.
has to really, really feel it. It isn't enough to have just heard about it. You have to feel it deep down. So that
Yeah.
means you got to build it a bit. You got to play with it. It's got to kind of exist in the zeitgeist of the show for some period of more than 10 seconds. Like it's not just, oh my God, he's talking to another woman who's his wife. It's got to be more like, all the angst that's involved in all that. It's got
Well,
to
it's
kind
I
of play
like the
with that.
simplicity because that's how they did it on Grey's Anatomy. Like the couple was dating. It was the very first episode. The couple was dating no, sorry, the end of the first season. Couple was dating the whole season, and then the wife shows up at the very last scene of the last season, and she goes, "Oh, you must be the woman who's sleeping with my husband." Blank screen. So now we got to tune into season 2 to find out what the heck is going on.
But in order to make that approach work, then there has to be some sort of setup that leads you to understand that, what was her name? The one who said that? Who said that?
Uh, I don't remember her, but I know I didn't like her.
Well, whatever her name is. Okay, we'll call her Plain Jane. If Plain Jane's thing had a preamble to it, not a preamble, but a setup to it, so that there was something going on that led you to believe that Plain Jane was going to feel a certain way about conflicts, or a certain way about relationships gone bad. And then when it
Hmm.
finally happens, it all makes sense that she's saying
Hmm. Yeah.
what she just said. So
Hmm.
there has to be that setup in some way. So if we're going
Okay.
to do that with our show, we have to have a setup that makes it clear that that Nance is not shocked like we are about what happened. Like, this is, once again, this is happening to me.
Yep.
Once again, here it is again. I like, this is my ongoing theme of constantly
Hmm.
being, wooed by married men or whatever, something along that
Yeah.
line.
Picking the wrong guys. If I had no bad luck, I'd have no luck at all, and blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's got to be something like that. So we have to have a scene, because you don't want to actually just say that. That's not the point. You have to show the story of that. So somehow we have to have a scene somewhere between Ronald comes to dinner and the reveal that there is a married wife who's
Well,
married to
we can have a
Ronald,
flashback scene.
to a previous Nance relationship.
Yep.
So if we're going to do that, we're inventing another character, which is fine. And then We have to. How do we
Or
make
or in order to
flashback?
avoid creating another character, we can have a flashback to a point in their relationship where a discussion was had that he's definitely single, or you know, so the wolf she felt like secure in this relationship.
Okay, but here's the question I'm asking myself. On
Hmm.
a TV or movie drama, you can tell it's a flashback because the scene changes.
Right. Yeah, that's
How
true.
do you tell that the scene changed in audio?
Mm, that's
Do you,
true.
do
That's
you,
true.
if you put it in different background noises, it just seems like they're in a different place. How do you make it a different time?
So what you do is you have Nancy, and I started thinking back to the time when blah 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 blah.
Okay. So Nance cues us that we're going back in time. Then we go back in time. We relive that scene, whatever the scene
Hmm.
is.
Yep.
And then when we come back, that's when Lana has her FaceTime conversation with the wife.
Right.
So what we really need then is we need a way to bridge Ronald getting invited and showing up for dinner
Hmm.
to that long ago scene. We need to create a connection there.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So presumably it's something having to do with being a player, because he's a
Hmm.
player, and the
Hmm.
previous guy was also a player, and they're both married men.
Hmm.
So they're both exhibiting a behavior that Nance is noticing and is getting pissy about.
Hmm.
So let's see, what is that? Something, it's a behavior that both men are exhibiting, and she's made the connection that they're similar. What would that be? Well, let's see. Players will tell you
They
what you
peak.
want to hear.
They tell you what they want to hear. They're very smooth. They peacock. So
Ah,
I'm
that's
trying to
true.
think what else. Yeah. Yeah. They also have a tendency to build you up and tear you down at the same time to make you feel like they're the only ones that will appreciate you.
Good point. Yeah, that's a very good point.
Hmm.
We need to piece together a little storyline because somehow this comes up as a sort of a mini crisis.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's before the big crisis hits.
Right.
It's like this has pushed a button for her, whatever
Hmm.
this thing is.
Hmm.
It's something that's pushed a button and has created this recollection. So we got to come up with that. That's what we're missing at this point. We need something that pushes that button.
Yeah.
What is that going to be? Well, you're gonna have to tune in next episode to find out because we're out of time. How's that for a cliffhanger?
Hashtag cliffhanger.
But before we go, I do want to make sure I remind people become a subscriber because I mean, what you're seeing here is the behind the scenes development of this fiction podcast that Alex and I are leading the charge on producing and writing and creating and so forth. And by the way, Tom raised a question. Actually, a question was raised to him by one of our listeners. Why are we doing this? What is this? How does this connect to LOA today? I probably should have said this at the top of the hour, but
Mm-hmm.
I'll say it now. The law of attraction, you and I talked about this yesterday off screen.
Yep.
The law of attraction applies in all areas of our lives. And what we do on the show a lot is, helping people solve their LOA issues. I'm trying to attract this, I'm trying to do that, I'm having this problem, that problem, which is great. That's a perfectly legitimate format. But I've also been thinking about how to expand it because I really want to grow the audience quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we'll continue to grow it at a relatively sedate pace with
Mm-hmm.
what we're already doing. But if we can expand it so that we're offering more than just that one thing, I think we start growing the audience better, especially if we can present something that is of high entertainment value.
Yeah.
And that's what made me think about doing fiction, because if you do fiction, first of all, you can tie in all of the dysfunctionality you want to. It creates all kinds of
Yep.
opportunity for entertainment. And second of all, it creates opportunity to introduce into a story environment solutions that are deliberate creator oriented.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we're going with having having a therapist or a coach come in. So that was my thinking about it, and I
Yep.
think that's pretty much what you had in mind, right?
Yep. That's exactly what I had in mind. Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's a perfect tie-in. Now, if it's not your thing, okay, just listen to the episodes about just regular LOA. But for those of you who are going to join us on the ride, welcome to the what do they call them? The special features. Welcome to the special features. And with that thought in mind, I thank you very much, Alex. We'll have to carry this on Friday morning with Tom, because
Yep.
Tom's a good guy at spinning out details. I mean, he just like spurts them out. He's got a lot
Yeah.
of stuff. And the best part is if it's something that doesn't fit, he's okay. Well, okay, well, we'll just forget that. Let's just go on to the next thing. No big deal.
Exactly.
It's fabulous. So thank you. I appreciate all the work that you're helping me do on this.
No
And
problem. It's a fun project for me.
it is, isn't it? It is fun.
Hmm.
So we welcome everybody to come back next time. We'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody. Just realizing I gotta get my notebook out so I can start